Today we're going to be showing you how to get rid of this fabric and how to replace it. So as you can see, this other chair is already cut out, so I just cut out the middle part. So I just use the scissors, cut this portion out, and the reason why I'm changing it, though it looks nice, is because the other one had rips on it, and I tried to tape it but it didn't work. So this was a bad idea. So I cut the seams. As you can see, the seams are cut. So this is what it looked like originally, and I cut it out. So the portion that you're looking at, those parts were cut out of this chair. And then if you notice that the grooves are empty, so in the groove here, there are spleens that are inserted inside the fabric, and the fabric is sewn down, and then it is you slide it in the groove. And here is the insert. This is the insert that belongs to the back of the chair, right? So you basically flip these open, you flip those open, flip that up, and then this is what it looks like when it comes out. And then you slide the portion of the fabric out. You can actually slide it out without cutting the fabric, but I chose to cut the fabric first. And so this is what the fabric looked like when I cut it out. I cut it, and then I use the pliers. I use that pliers, and then I pull the fabric on the ends like this. I hold on to it, and I pulled it out of the groove, which is from here. I pull it upward. So you pull it upward, the northern direction, and you pull it out. And so once I did that, I needed to know the size. So already prior to doing this work today, I put the actual original fabric down, right? This is the fabric I bought. I bought this at Fabricland, and I'm filming in Canada. So if you go to Fabricland, you can ask them for the fabric that goes inside a chair like that. And then I put the fabric down, and I put the sides that are attached. I basically reposition the parts that I cut. Then I measured it to see what the width is and the length. As long as you get the width and the length, so you put it back together again, okay, and then you measure it on the top, and then you have some room on the side to make sure that you have enough to bend and then stitch down, and also you have enough at the top, so when you bend it, so I'm not going to cut this part off because that's really good for to prevent it from raveling or unraveling. So you bend it like that, and then you stitch it down, okay? Then once I got the length and the width, I got my heavy duty scissors and I measured it. So as you can see, those are the sides that are going to be folded when I do the stitching. And I have my ruler that I use, as well as I use markers to ensure that the section is marked. So when I put it down, I can actually see the green on the sides, and it's easy for me. So I'm gonna be using this machine. It's an old machine, and once I stitch down the sides, then I'm gonna slide the spleen inside the corners. And then my next step will be to slide the corners back into the groove, and then I'm going to add this back on, and that will be the process. So I'm going to pause for now, and you're going to see me sewing at one point in time. I'm going to show you what I've done with my sewing. Okay, this is my work area. As you can see, everything is all over the place, but this is how you do it. Okay, make sure your thread is 100% polyester, and this is from the clothing store or the sewing store. So one of the things they make sure that I got, it says serging thread, but it doesn't really matter. They told me it has to be polyester. So Now I'm gonna string up the machine and I'm gonna start sewing. So this would be my first. So this is what I'm gonna be sewing first. So you can see the seams already done. All the seams are done. And I'm gonna be folding it and stitching it down. So I'm using the same thread and I'm gonna put it under the, this is called a bobbin. So I'm filling it. And that's it. So this section here over here prevents it from going any further. So you flip it, and then I'm gonna have my bobbin, which will be placed in here, and then I will proceed with the sewing, and then the full spill is gonna be being used at the top, and I'm gonna feed it through here and open up this section. This is where it's gonna feed through, feed all the way down to here, and then both threads are going to be sewing. So this is just a little bit of information for those who don't know how sewing is done. So now I'm stitching it down with the folded section, as I mentioned before. So you'll see it being stitched. It's hard to hold the camera and do this at the same time. So you can see it being stitched. Okay. So the top is being stitched down. As you can see, this is the side that's going to be the back of the chair. And then the bottom is going to be stitched next. So you can see the seam that was made by the marker. So it's going to be folded this way, folded that way, and then stitched down this way. So here we're stitching down the bottom part where your legs are going to rest on the chair. So you can see this. And it's stitched. So here, this will be it's resting behind. So this is the back of the chair, right? So the seams for the sides are like maybe 1.5 inches. And the reason why it has to be wide is because you're going to put the spleen, once you're stitching over on the inside here, and then you're going to put the spleen through it, okay? You don't want it to be too narrow. So I leave space for about 1.5 inches. So you can see how far or wide the stitch is done. You don't want to do it too narrow. And so you continue on that same path. Make sure it's 1 inch, and that's why it's good to mark it before you do it. And you keep about 1.5 inches wide. So as you can see, the remaining portion, which was already stitched down, 1.5 inches, and you stitch over closer to the left to make sure that you have enough room when you put the spleen in. Putting the spleen in can be very tricky because it's flexible. So putting it all the way down into the sides, and here's the end of it. You have to hold it in and push it down, but also you have to even it out on the sides as you push it in, because the area, the tab is very wide, but you need it to be wide, and it's hard to, but you also need the room. That's why it's so wide. So when you push it in, because it's flexible and it bends when it's inside, So it bends like this when it's inside, right? It bends. So you have to be careful when you're putting it in. So it gave me quite a bit of trouble, but it's in. And so we're going to put that into the groove of the chair. We're going to push it in. I'm going to put the spleen in on both ends first, and then we're going to try to put it in at the same time, and then we're going to slide it down throughout the groove. Okay, as you can see, the rest of the spleen down there, it came in a circular format, so it's not very stiff and it's not easy to put inside the tabs. But here we are right now. We're going to just slide it in the groove and see what happens next. Make sure you don't cut it to be exact. Make sure you have room on the ends when you're sliding in. So when you're buying your spleen, make sure it's extra more than you need. So when you cut, you're gonna cut about this much. That way you have room at the top. And so you're gonna need to buy extra. Okay, maybe not so much, maybe about 1.5 inches or inch at the top, and then have the extra at the bottom. So now I insert each side, so you can see that side is inserted and that side is inserted. And to help me, I'm going to use the pliers. I'm going to pull down like that. You can see that pull down. It's going to take some time, and I pull it down inside. Keep doing each side, pull down, but it's going to take some time. So, and the different section of the chair has come out, so this part goes to the back. But once I put this part in, once I put the fabric in, then I'll put the back, which is the brace right here. Okay, and I'll also glue it in. So guys, this spleen did not work. It's too flimsy. So I had to take out the old spleen from the part that I cut out, as you can see. And here it is. This was the original spleen that was in there, and it's more rigid and it's already shaped like the chair. So I'm going to be using the old spleens. So when I do this chair, I'm going to do the same thing. So already I put the old one inside that one here, as you can see. And I'm just going to put this one in there because the other one is too flimsy. So I'll show you when I slide it in the chair. It didn't work because it was too flimsy, and I was having problem in this section, like in the corner section. But because this is already contoured to match the way the chair shapes, then it's better for me to use this, the old one. So as you can see, the old one it looks like it's gonna work well. So I'm gonna push it down in the groove and then see what happens. So this is the final results. So the new spleen went in, and this is before and this is after. So as you can see, the new chair is in. So I'm just gonna tidy up the areas here. This is some threading. Just gonna tidy up that area, and it's all the groove. It's in the groove, and it's nice, and you can't really tell the difference. And this is the after result. I sat in it, so there's a little bit of crease here, but it's perfect. So I just need to pull it down a little bit on that end, and then it will be evened out, and that's it. So this is how you take a chair that's old and tattered, and you can see all the it's very old, and so this is the new improvement. So that's it, folks. I hope this has been useful, and I hope it helps someone who doesn't know how to do it. And the pliers is very instrumental in helping me, because I was able to pull it through as I go down vertically, and I did one side at a time simultaneously. So I pull one side, and I pull the next side, and I pull the next side, and I pull the next side, and the spleen, which is stiff, is better than that. So the other spleen would not have worked, and it's done. There you go. There you go. Awesome. Thank you for watching. See you next time.
Well, I thought she was done wearing all the hats, extra hats, but apparently she is now not only a seamstress, she upholsters chairs. Would anybody like to see the final result? Well, I'll show you in passing what it looked like the old chair. That's the old chair, and this is all the nastiness. But then, here's the final result. Look at that. All done by hand. So congratulations, you win another hat. Here she is. So what do you have to say for yourself in your first upholstery job?
Who will hire me?
You heard her. She's looking for a job.
No, I love accounting. This is just a hobby.
Look at that.
I didn't know I could do it, but I am doing it.
You can do anything.
Yeah.
I guess you are your mother's daughter.
Trying.
She'd be proud.
And that's the finished product.
Yes, we've showed that, the finished product, yes.
It took a lot of work.
I bet you it did. And on that note, I will buy myself or buy my wife something good for supper. Amen.